So I'm interested in that time where you went from, working in the shop to going, I'm going to do science. So how old were you? And tell me the situation.
In my 30s when I went to do science. And it was because I was working in the shop and it was fun, but I have to be honest, it was mind numbing. I did have this couple of wonderful customers that came in. One of them was a lady that was a playwright, and I used to love it when she came in because we'd talk together. And but a lot of the time, I mean, I love window displays. I loved, wearing the clothes. It was a little bit of a hippie shop, to be honest. And I was one of those people that continually dressed in black, a little on the goth side. And so were one of my kids. And I did love it. And the kids would come in and meet me there sometimes, but very mind numbing. And a friend of mine had gone to uni. I was still married. And then my husband didn't even want me to go to university. I was a wife and a mother. Hang on here. And so I did go to university, and I started doing it part-time and working. And, then
What
I,
brought you to science? Like what was that?
oh, it was interesting. I know this sounds a real bit wanky, but what happened was someone said to me, I went to uni and it wasn't working out too well because I started with ancient history because I used to love the stories.
Hmm.
And then I realized ancient history wasn't for me. It was too much reading and writing. And someone said, look, if you're at uni, you should do what you found easy at school or you did well in. And that was always science. To me, science was, was so easy. There was an answer. That's the result. That's what you go to, that's what you get. And so I started in that and dropped out. And then I went back and did science. And I thought, oh, I'll go to science and become a school teacher. And then I got there and I did, my science degree. And I thought, oh, I might just do honors in case it's more research, because I was going to do science degree, teach ed, and then become a science teacher. And I went to a teacher interview thing with my daughter, and I was talking to the science teacher because a lot of my work was on mitochondria. And that's the energy of the human body. I mean, I can't believe that energy is such an important aspect
Hmm.
of life. Anyway, I was doing mitochondria and I was talking to the teacher and he said, oh, you're working on the Eve gene. And I said, oh, yeah, yeah. And I suddenly thought, man, how constraining to teach the same thing over and over again. When I go to science at the uni and you're always presented with the latest, what's going on, what's happening. And I thought, well, I'll just do the PhD to be sure. I mean, my poor mother was beside herself because I used to ring her occasionally and say, why am I doing this? Why do I think I can do honors? Why do I think I can do a PhD? And then, of course, I get off the phone. She's had to deal with that. And I'm back to it and studying and working. I got to the stage, of course, where I would study full time and do the PhD. Of course, I'd left the shop by then.
Hmm.
But I couldn't see myself working in a shop basically for the rest of my life.
Hmm.
It was like a fun hobby thing to do.
And then parasites. Where did that interest come from? Like,
Oh
as
my God. I was at the
science
University of
parasite.
Queensland. I was there and I swear it would have been one of the earliest lectures I had. This lecturer turned up and walked in. And to be honest, he is an outstanding lecturer, outstanding. I used to look at him, and there was another one I used to think, why are they so good? And
Hmm.
it's because they walk in and they take up the presence and they entertain you and they inform you. Actually, I got to take that to my classes. And he was there and he talked about parasites. And I thought, oh my God, that's it. I love it.
Hmm.
And I then went down that stream. Back in those days, you could, major in parasites, but it was already starting to be like, oh no, viruses are the new thing. And viruses are parasites, I might add. But so I did extra subjects and had two fields. So I have parasitology and microbiology.
That's
So my PhD and honours are in both those.
and just to think that you went from like, you know, shy, just share with me, you shared a story about how shy you were in your original role.
I think, I think that's why my husband loved me. He thought, oh my God, I've got this tiny little thing and she won't go out. I remember saying to a friend, I'd met at playgroup, and I said to her, she's still my friend today. She said, do you want to go out tonight? And I said, oh, that sounds interesting. I'll have to go home and ask my husband. And she goes, what? And I said, I'll have to ask George, my husband, if I can go. And she goes, you don't have to ask permission from anybody. And I thought, what's she talking about, man? Anyway,
And
so
this is
she,
no longer your husband, just to point out.
no, but he's still cool. I mean, I see him, we chat. There's no,
Animosity.
the same one that didn't want me to do the university degree, go to university, and the same one that, yeah. So I think he was very happy. But when I met him, and he was a big person, and I think I just saw him as a big protective thing. It was, 6-footer. And my partner now is about 5'4", so I don't need protection. I just want company. And when I was so shy as a young adult, my first job was in the public service. And fortunately, my desk was towards the back of the room. And I'd have to go to the bathroom. And I'd try and time it for morning tea when there's a lot of movement. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I would sit there thinking, oh my God, I've got to walk all the way up the front of this room, walk to the left, and then, go to the bathroom. And I won't drink, I won't do things, I was incredibly shy.
Isn't that amazing? You know, whatever the circumstances are that kind of lead us to, you know, these fears that we have or the beliefs that we have, and just transforming that now from that experience that you've had to now working with children and helping them see, you know, these emotions or these fears or these concerns that come up and treat them with, I guess, the levity that you do in the games. It's refreshing because you've got that background that says, I was so scared I wouldn't even go to the bathroom. And, you know, that I'm now, you know, here I am talking to all of these people and sharing the story. So it must be nice to be able to draw on some of those experiences.
I think so. And I wonder if that's part of the thing. I can see how much I've changed. And I'm a little bit driven. I was, even turning up being a student, oh my God, and being a mature student. I was there one day and I thought, oh, thank God that there's a person in this class similar age to me, and I sort of nodded at her and I sat down feeling until she got up and she was a lecturer.
Oh, no.
It was so disappointing. But there was a couple of mature age students going through, but I didn't care. I mean, I just fought against it because I was determined this was what I want. This is what I was passionate about then.
Mm.
And I got that same vibe, I don't care, I want to do this. I'm passionate about it. And
Mm.
I know that I've made all these changes myself through my life. So I know it's possible. And it'd be so nice if someone said, look, I'll show you how you can do it.
Mm. And
Don't
especially
struggle. Don't sit there dying to go to the bathroom.
exactly, and capturing people at a young age so that they
Mm.
don't get to 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever, and go, maybe I now have permission. I don't have to have the permission from the authority to say it's okay. Well, look, I really appreciate you sharing this extra little bonus of your story. Thank you so much, Cath, and thank you for, you know, giving some insight into, you know, I guess the path that you've taken and the many sliding doors and the opportunities that you've had and the objections and I guess the reasons that you had invitations along the way to say no and just go back to a life of comfort and conformity and be in the desk at the back of the room and worried about
Mm.
what's next. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thanks, Jane. Always a pleasure with you.